Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to the GSL Codes. Taste and Toast is here. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing really well. We had great matches yesterday and should be great today as well. It's, I wouldn't say it's as hard to predict this group as last night. Last night was insane. Who would win? This group has one guy that's going to be an underdog.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We had some really interesting games yesterday, except for that one game with Finn. And I thought about that game after I went home. I don't even feel like we were hard enough on him.
I think you were pretty
I was ready to just go knock on the door and be like, all right, out of the booth. He's like, what? I'm like, you're going home. He's like, what? Hey, unplug the keyboard.
Well,
unplug the keyboard.
He certainly did go home, Tasteless.
He did go home. You're going down to Code A, man. I'm sorry. He's like, but I want to be a Harlem Globetrotter. I'm like, well, in Code S, you can't do that. Take his jersey away. That was a disappointing game. The random 8 SCVs after an expand build that cannot beat anything. But other than that, those games were pretty good. Yeah, and I think today's games are going to be great as well.
Yeah. I think that they're going to be really good. It's a fun group. You know, at least we do have a Zerg here today in this group. 2 Terrans, a Protoss, and a Zerg. And 2 players that are on kind of a little bit of a hot streak lately.
Yeah,
Squirtle
absolutely.
and MMA, 4th and 2nd place in the IPL that they were just at. So that should be fun. And then, of course, Nada. He has not been doing as well lately. You know, he doesn't have a championship yet at all in StarCraft II.
Yeah, it's funny because he came into StarCraft II with all this hype, and now he's sort of just one of these other guys that floats around in Code S, but I don't see him going to the finals. I hope I'm wrong because I'd love to see.
Nothing I'd rather see than him just clean up everybody.
Oh, yeah. We're going to take a look at yesterday's match results. We're going to throw that up on screen for you, I guess in a minute here. But also be sure to participate in our poll prediction process. And here it is. I knew it was coming. Harding and Oz moving on. I have to say that's not shocking, but then anybody moving out of this group isn't shocking. Finn and Pult going down. It's too bad because they did play well minus that one Finn game, which needs to be erased from all history.
Well, you know, it's sad to see Pult go down in last place. He played actually just an astounding series against Party. That was actually my favorite series from yesterday, that first series of the night. Really well done. And
today we're going to have other great games coming up here. A little bit more of a diverse mix-up. Our players are
MMA, Squirtle, Leenock, and Nada. Excited to see who will actually make it out of this group. MMA, of course.
A man, he needs little introduction here.
He needs no introduction, Tasteless.
In fact, we're not even going to talk about him. Next player.
Squirtle. He just got 2nd place in IPL, doing great. He's been a strong Protoss for a long time. Finally,
stronger than the Pokemon.
See how far he can get.
Leenock.
He was all the rage a few months ago. Hasn't been as big lately, but still putting out solid results. And then Nada.
The Renaissance nerd.
He's always been all the rage, but hasn't really won anything in StarCraft II yet.
Yeah. You know, he's such a legend from StarCraft 1. The most consistent StarCraft 1 professional gamer of all time, but StarCraft 2. Actually, I guess in StarCraft 2 he's almost the most consistent, just not with the winning results.
Exactly.
All right, so our first matchup, MMA against Squirtle. MMA is seasoned. He's been around, mentored by Slayer's Boxer. Squirtle, we saw a lot more of him in the early GSL Team League games.
Yeah.
And now he's here in Code S trying to prove himself, trying to climb the ranks.
Well, I feel like these are the 2 favored to get out of the group, but since they play each other first, someone's going to start out with a loss.
That's true. You're correct.
That's right, man.
Yeah, man.
When 2 people play, 1 person loses. But, you know, the converse of that is that 1 person wins.
And, you know, if you're watching the GSL, if you're a fan of the GSL, you're always a winner. Those are the real winners, Artosis. It's the fans. All right. Thank you to our sponsor, Hot 6.
The real winners are DRG and Marine King Days. That's not foolish.
In the upper right, we have our Terran player, mentored by Slayer's Boxer, a GSL champion from the GSL we held at BlizzCon. His ID is
Slayer's MMA.
MMA right now not looking so much like he's playing StarCraft, but like he's looking through Excel sheets. But he is, in fact, very focused. In the bottom left, we have that's a name of a Pokemon, but also a very, very good player, up and coming. I think in individual leagues.
Starter Squirtle.
It's the Squirtle. It is a Squirtle. I believe there can be more than one Squirtle. I'm not a Pokemon expert. I play every game, but I don't know Pokemon.
You actually are missing out, Tasteless, and I'm not making any jokes right now. Pokemon is actually one of the most fun, one of the best RPGs ever made.
Now, well, here's a question, though. If I started playing Pokemon now as an adult, would I like it?
Yes.
I would.
You would absolutely have a great time. I would say just start out with one of the 2 originals. I'm sure they have emulators for the PC, but I don't think you actually have a Game Boy, do you?
Well, I have one back in the States, but I didn't bring every console. I have like basically every console and handheld ever made, but I didn't bring it out here.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's worth your time. But I do want to point out one thing. Something very interesting has happened. MMA basically made a Macrorax, which was hidden. Squirtle scouted really quickly. He wanted to go Nexus first, but instead he made a 15 gate. And you don't want to make a late gateway.
But he's going
and
to
finally,
see it now.
yeah, he finally does. But I mean, he can't really cancel now. He has to go ahead with this. MMA probably just going to go ahead and expand quickly. And Squirtle's whole build has been messed up because he placed his barracks in a funny location.
Yeah, we see this a lot with some of the top Terrans. Is the fact is the Terran buildings fly, and unlike StarCraft 1, they fly quickly. So he has the ability to just relocate that to a better position once he's tricked his opponent. Now, I do like this here by Squirtle. Okay, he was mining gas a little bit late there, but getting the Nexus right away.
Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and do that without any sort of core. So, if MMA had decided to make Marines non-stop, he could have put on some pressure that would have been a little bit difficult to deal with, but he didn't do that, which is fine as well. It is a very long map, maybe not the best map to switch your strategy into something like that, but he's done his damage with that hidden barracks.
As you can see here, as far as his history goes here with MMA, he's had a bumpy future, but it's kind of smoothed out as...
he's had a bumpy future. And he will have a bumpy past.
Yes, thank you. My Magic 8 Ball told me that. That's how I cast. Previously, his matches were a little bit bumpy. He's smoothed out now.
And Squirtle actually just scouted his 3rd command center as well, so he knows that MMA is in fact being really greedy. Now Squirtle has to decide, how greedy do I be?
It's a good question. And as you can see, Squirtle's been floating in Code A for most of his career. It's why we see him more in the team leagues. Mm-hmm. That's really where he makes his debut. But of course, the real one that every player wants to win is the individual league, the GSL Code S.
That's right. The team league, very important. But you know what? Who won the team league? Well, Marine King won it, so I guess that's a championship because he won like 4 matches in a row.
Yeah,
so actually, you know what? That was an individual league win for him. You're like, no, they did it as a team. No, Marine King kind of just did it.
Cheering for him.
Wow. Well, I'm happy for them. But anyways. Tasteless, while we wait for these guys to decide how greedy they're going to be and how much they're going to tech up, I have to jump back to this. You should play Pokemon.
I should play Pokemon.
Guys, let him know on Twitter if you think that Tasteless should finally put some time in, play Pokemon. Adam is call me Tasteless.
Does it take a long time to beat?
You know what? It matters how much you want to do in the game. There's you can do extra stuff.
I'm going to be like the biggest hipster nerd walking around with an old school Game Boy on the subway.
Yeah, it's worth your while.
If I got it, like I mean, if it was an emulator, like I played it on PC, would that actually be fun, or would that just be this weird experience that robs me of?
I don't know, because I played it on Game Boy and I played sequels on Game Boy. There's actually multiple Pokemon worlds with different Pokemon in them. So if you like the first original one, you can of course go play those others. But
I did play Pokemon Snap on Nintendo 64.
Yeah, that
I don't believe that actually counts as a Pokemon.
Not as bad as a game as people would tell you, but
I think it's basically like the Fallout Tactics. The one that nobody wants to talk about out of the Fallout
you know
series.
what? A lot of people do realize that it actually was a good game, but it's not anywhere near actual Pokemon.
Okay.
Nowhere near. Can't be compared.
They still only make Pokemon on handhelds, right? Or is it on?
There's all sorts of different Pokemons you can get for bigger systems, but it's a little bit different.
Where does a Squirtle rank in Pokemon?
Well, I mean, if you're going to be a competitive player, you're never actually going to use him. But if you choose Squirtle in the first Red or Blue games, it means you're the best type of video game player.
Okay, it means you're a
really
man.
smart. Really, really smart.
Okay.
Most people choose Charizard. Weird people choose Bulbasaur, and smartest people choose Squirtle.
Oh, I got
It's
it now.
actually a scientific proven fact.
Pikachu is also not a strong Pokemon, right?
No, he's not strong at all.
All right. Didn't make a very strong impression on me in the cartoon either. I really kind of had it with him by, minute 2.
Pikachu.
Pikachu. I'm like, listen, I know what your name is.
Well, that's how they talk, man. They say their name.
Trying to imagine you doing that.
You want to, yeah, man.
There's a big battle coming. You're like, Artosis.
Artosis.
And then if I see a good build, I'd be like, if I see a bad build, I'm like, tasteless. If I see a good build, I'm like, tasteless.
Wow, we should just do that
one
day.
of our dumber jokes.
If we ever have to, remember when we had to occasionally commentate Code back when Code was terrible?
Yeah, and it was full
We
of
should have
snarks.
done something like that, just chosen one word each and just use it the whole cast. See if people lose their minds.
What I think we should do next time if we cast, if we really want to troll people, is instead of casting, we just read like Shakespeare.
Oh, wow.
Like the entire game. We just read Hamlet.
That'd be some sort of artistic statement, I think.
Yeah.
All right, well, these guys each have 3 bases now, so I guess we can start talking about the game.
I know,
because
this game's
guys, they
actually
were
picking up.
never going to attack each other.
Yeah, this is a macro setup.
Yeah, it was quite obvious that neither player wanted to put on any pressure. So with 3 bases each, MMA not getting ready to expand again, but his infrastructure should go way up in a second year. He does not have enough barracks right now.
And getting 4th bases on this, those are the bases that are much more attackable.
Yeah. And
Anything else is a pretty bold move to try to attack into that.
yeah, it quite is. They're really out of position, basically. It's hard to defend them against each other. And off of 3 bases, StarCraft started out 1 base all-ins, and then it got up to the 2 base all-ins. And at this point, not necessarily as all-in, because when you're on 3 bases, it's so easy to just add more bases because you have so much money. But, I mean, that is what it is. But hold on, we do have a drop coming in. But Squirtle on top of things, sending in some units immediately, and MMA gonna have to get out.
Denied that, so no real exchange there.
Well, Squirtle right now, he's doing a good job. He's starting his Psystorm. His upgrades are a move and adding a lot of gateways right now. He's got to get his production going. His supply is behind MMA's right now, but MMA not completely scary yet. He does have his Medivacs out. He does have Marines and Marauders with Combat Shield +1, Concussive Shell, Stem, the whole kit and caboodle. But you can't really attack up these ramps right now against what Squirtle has, even though his army isn't the most fearsome you've ever seen.
Well, when you're in this defending position, you got that ramp. It does give you this nice way to set up your army so that you're going to win that. This is actually a pretty smart move here. We don't really see players actually hunt down the factory enough.
That's very true.
Killing the factory actually is a nuisance to the Terran. They do have to depend more on scouting.
And it's going to set you up better for battles in the future where they're trying to use that barracks to deal you damage. So.
They need an armory as well. They need a factory to make an armory as well, so they can mess up their upgrades too.
Well, MMA has actually timed out his ghosts really well. His ghosts are going to pop out just as Psystorm finishes, but his Mobius reactor actually wasn't started until these ghosts are finishing up. So, I mean, it'll help him in the future, but these first 4 ghosts, he's going to have to just wait for them to get enough energy. Now, Psystorm is complete, so he's going to have to be very careful with any engagements we see here against Squirtle.
All right, if I play Pokemon, can I make you play a game?
A game?
Yeah.
What do you mean a game?
Well, if I pick out a game too. Oh, we got a little engagement here.
As long as it's StarCraft, 1 versus 1's on the Korean server.
No, man, no. Cop out. All right, well, looks like we have a real... No, we don't. We have... Now, that was nice. The scan there to get the Observer, that was smooth.
Yeah, nice EMP there, all over those Zealots.
I think actually Squirrel needs to retreat.
Yeah, he needs to be pretty careful here.
Oh, man.
He's trying to play like partying, but it's not working. Oh, man, he did not get enough storms off there. Really didn't kill anything off.
That's a game changer right there.
It really is. Those were 3 very important High Templars. You've got to get good storms off with your High Templars the whole time. lot of ghosts still up here. Good EMPs going off. Squirtle, no side storms to be seen.
I can't even believe he's engaging there.
Yeah, that's a bad move right there.
And then the Templars didn't even have enough energy.
Oh, man, this is actually really
God.
bad.
And Zealots, though, hitting up here at the SCDs. But this base number 4, is about to be knocked out of this right now as MMA is tearing through here.
Yeah, and, well, finally some good side storms go up. More units coming in from the side, but no side storms left over. So MMA actually just going to basically kill Squirtle here.
Well, I mean, if you look, though, he is getting this expansion. At the top, all those SCVs are getting killed, but the problem is that I think you're right. He's just going to push in there and actually wipe out everything. Yeah, this is actually GG. Yeah.
Squirtle actually not the best play into the late game. I mean, he's set up very nicely, but here's a few things. When you're hitting the max supply and you're banking money before the battle, you just have to keep adding gates so that you can actually re-max instantly, even if it's going to, you can't keep complete production, you have to do that. Also, you can't just lose high templars. You're trying to move them around a little bit, kind of like parting. You know, that style is becoming more and more powerful, where that your high templars aren't always with your army, they're just kind of the side. But those 3 high templars got like 1 side storm off. You need to notice, blanket the Terran
army.
army.
Party never has like a group of high templars moving around as much.
He has like
normally
1
has
or 2.
1. Yeah, 1 or 2. Like these lone wolf high templars moving around.
Well,
so
this was a little pack high templars, 3 of them, and they didn't do much. Squirtle engaged a couple times without any high templar support. If you don't have any splash damage and you're trying to kill off upgraded Marine Marauder Medevac, it's not going to work. You have to have splash damage.
The High Templars, like the Ghosts, are the staple unit when you're in that late game scenario.
It's much smarter to pull back and lose your 4th base than to be like, well, maybe I can. Well, no, I can't hold this, but I think I'll just fight because this 4th base is important.
The sign of a good player is knowing when you're just not supposed to fight, even if you're going to suffer losses.
Yeah, sometimes you have to let yourself be behind to not just lose, because as soon as you lose a huge army, as soon as you lose all your splash damage, the Terran player is going to roll through you, especially if he's MMA.
Absolutely, well said. Pretty straightforward game. They went for macro early on, and they both did a good job of it. But then when it came to the positioning of the armies, they got, Squirtle got ran over.
Well, we're going to go into,
He's in MMA's Pokeball right now. Because that's how you catch him, right?
That is how you catch them. But he's actually already owned by Prime, so you can't take him with the Pokeball. Anyways.
Now, when the Pokemon is in the Pokeball.
Yes.
I mean, is it happy?
They're supposedly happy.
I
never bought it. I
don't know. Whenever I go to the zoo and I get to look at all the elk that are actually all
down and
cuddled up on the other side of the cages, and everyone's like, "Oh, look, it's elk," and I'm like, "These elk hate humans. They hate that. They don't want to be here."
Of course.
That's what I wanted to play. All right. Well, he better not get caught in this Pokeball then. I bet that's like the zoo, except nobody comes to see you.
What if you have a trainer that loves you a lot and he trains hard with you?
I don't know.